Okay, what's going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode here, Locker Room Sports Talk. I'd like to come into you live here on a Thursday night. Man, we got some stuff to talk about, and glad you come by and hang out with us. Alabama is still adding to the portal, and all the fans were all juiced up and worried about it. And I tried to make a point to tell you just kind of calm down and let the coaches coach, and we can all just kind of let them do what they do, and that's coach. Here's some insight. I just looking at some video stuff here, and a guy, Mr. Staples over there at On Three, was talking about film and how we grade these portal guys. Well, here's the thing: when you're trying to grade portal players, whoever your favorite team is, we'll go through here and look at some of the teams here, and we'll also talk about the schedules for some of the top 10 teams in the final AP poll. So we'll go over that. But right now, Andy Staples over there on Three was talking about, how do we get an idea or feeling of, maybe your favorite team is Georgia, and these guys they've added from the portal. You think, well, how do they add these guys by how they fit the team? I mean, you're not picking up a lot of starters. I think Bama picked up one of their guys from Mississippi State, an offensive tackle, started 12 games. So there's film there for them. So you're like, well, how do I know my team's really adding quality players to my favorite team? Like, how are we going to be? And gosh, we're kind of low in the portal. Rankings on the portal is not the same as rankings when, like, you're talking about recruiting classes. It's completely different. So you have to figure on these stars, the rankings of these players as they come over from another school. And what you have to understand is that the college coaches, unlike us, are watching practice film on these players that don't have a lot of starts and don't have a lot of film. So there is practice film because they have, cameras and stuff recording their practices. So that way the coaches can get an idea of how they evaluate that talent and how they fit their scheme that they're looking to run themselves. And that's something that we don't have. We're not privy to that. I have no idea. Come in tomorrow morning and we'll sit down here and we'll talk about it if you want to. Probably about 10 or 11. May get Starkey from Average Joe's. Me and him sit in here and go through some of that. I don't know. I've heard they're going to split it, and I've heard they're not. And if they do, are they going to fall out from under their AHSA rank? I don't know. But come by tomorrow, Brad, and we'll go through it. So that's a way for a team to find out how this talent fits their team, because we don't know. Us fans, we're just going by, well, he's a second string guy. It's garbage, man. Why? We can't. This guy ain't no good. How's he adding any production to our team? There's no way, man. It's a complete waste of time. We don't get to see practice film because you can't get practice film on players. Coaches do. So basically, you're just going to have to trust the idea of your team's coaches and feel like, can they evaluate talent? Well, where has their recruiting classes been? That'll tell you where the recruiting talent is. If they're ranked in if they had 2 recruiting classes in the top 3 or 4 the last 2 years like Alabama has, you'd probably assume, I guess they evaluate talent pretty well, because the best players probably on Alabama's team last year was the young guys, especially a lot of defensive guys, and even the tailback like Daniel Hill just comes in and takes the game away from Jim Miller. Senior guy, supposed to be the one, supposed to be great. So there's that. And some stuff we just don't know, and you just react as fans. And you just don't understand. And I have some insight to some of it, and I come on here to share it with you guys, and that's why I appreciate it. And just hit the thumbs up on the video to say, hey, look, I know you're putting in the time and the work on this and sharing us some insight stuff that we don't have access to all the time, because maybe we work a whole bunch and we don't have time to sit around and do this. And you do, and I'm sharing it with you guys. That's what I do it for. So talking about Bama recruiting and that type of stuff, just mentioning this because it's the first thing off the top of the list. Just as of today, just 3 hours ago, actually, in-state receiver Aubrey Walker, I know who he is, state championship game, played at Moody High School. He had like 3 touchdowns. I watched him in that game and thought, he's coming out and graduating early. And he would be a great addition as another. He's a small guy. He's like, maybe 6 foot tall, 170, 180 pounds, but he runs a 4.3 40. So he's very fast. And I watched him play state championship game, and how he catches the ball with his hands. And you can tell in some of the routes when he was running that he breaks some of these routes off early, sometimes on his own, just to come back to the ball to help his quarterback out and that kind of stuff. Those are things that you don't practice. It's just, you just know it or you don't. Aubrey Walker went on to comment to say that after being talked to from Coach Roach there in Alabama, he said, I just took the opportunity. That he told Walker dove into a moment here with Bama 24/7 to talk about his announcement coming, as he did 3 hours ago. He said, I was smiling so much, I was so excited. The emotions were super hard to control. When Coach Roach said that I had the opportunity to play at Alabama, I almost cried. It was really heartfelt. So there you go. On his Twitter page, he's got it's at Breezy2Goated. So if you're on Twitter, follow me over there at Big Matt 1977 2 G's, and follow him at Breezy2 Goated Goated. And today I just committed to my dream college since childhood. I'm headed to Titletown, Roll Tide. And he's got himself in the picture. He's got a little jersey on. It looks like him being the age he's at, quarterback. I don't remember. 14 was Coker 14 or was Blake Sims wasn't 14? Was he back then? But it just it seems like, just to me, that it's a good opportunity for Bama to be able to pick up a good receiver, a good in-state guy, and it shows that the staff highly anticipates to be able to continue to recruit the state. And yes, I know we can go through the numbers and say Georgia has 3 times the top 300 blue chip players in Alabama, and they do, because they have, population like 20 more million people in Georgia, and they have a lot more schools over there. So it's a lot more people to pick from. And nationally ranked, sometimes the guys are not nationally ranked as high here in the state. I know all that stuff. I've covered high school football here for years. So the thing is, it can make a fan feel good if you're a fan of that team, that he's going to a school that he's always wanted to go to, and he's posting the picture, of himself being a little kid and, wanting to play at Bama. And that is something to hang your hat on, because with a lot of money moving a lot of kids around, it's still good to see for anybody that dislikes the game of college football. And there's not any fans of any other teams that kind of root for Alabama too. You have your team, and then you hate Alabama. And that's just the way it is, because, most people don't – they're just sick of Bama winning, and they just hate on Bama. And so – but as a fan of the game, I appreciate the young man for being able to stick with what he really wanted to do and following his heart. And I think that's a thing that's just kind of slipping away a little bit in college football and kind of in high school football, because there's a lot of stuff going to go on tomorrow morning. If you want to come back in here and hang out, we'll go over some high school reclassification, and we'll see how this is going to spill out from 1 through 7A. We're going to have some teams moving up, some teams moving down, and they're going to decide whether or not they're going to separate the private from the public schools, and we're going to have we'll have a big talk about it, and we'll be able to sit down here and figure it all out together. So come by in the morning, probably, 10 or 11 o'clock or something like that before lunch. And I'll try to have it up and give us something to talk about tomorrow. So Ben says if they do split private schools, and they would have a large private school region and a smaller. So yeah, I don't know. As of yesterday and stuff I'm hearing yesterday, because probably of some administrations moving around here in the next year or two, possibility that they could just leave everything how it is right now. Because if you change stuff now, then you bring in new people in 27, 28, then they're going to just probably undo what you've done just to change it how they want to do it. So I think there's a high possibility, just me guessing too, that because I know there's going to be some turnover in administration in the HSAA, so they'll probably it's a big possibility they'll probably just leave it all alone and reclassify everybody like they did last year, and then let the new people when they come in decide what they want to do with it. So, so that's that. So that was some news for a young guy. Well, whoa. Some news for a young guy coming out of Alabama, and well, this has just quit working. And just kind of good, cool to see, guys doing that and wanting to be, where they're at and not taking everything to be super for granted and, all that. So, let's see, a few others added here. They added, golly, these ads pop up. I can't even read. It's just, it covers the whole screen. It's just ridiculous. The Jarvin James kid, we've already talked about him from Mississippi State, Bama. They picked up South Carolina guy. Nick Brooks from Texas. He graded out to an 89. I was kind of surprised that him being a good grade. And the center, Delgatti, kid from Cal Poly, graded out at an 87. So more or less overall, most of these new offensive line guys that they've added have been great additions to the team. And also, just in general, a look at the guys that's committed in fully. I've got it up on the page over there. Just shared it earlier. Defensive line guys, looks like Kendrick Jones, a kid from Mississippi State. Also, the Tompkins kid from USC. And the Caleb Smith guy from Washington is very intriguing. I really like his upside a whole lot. That Terrence Green kid from Oregon is a good addition for Alabama because I think he has the size and the range to move around in the position of where they want him to play at. He grades out well. Ohio State wanted him pretty bad. They went after him pretty heavy also. And offensive line style from the center from Delgatti, we're talking about him, to the Ethan Fields guy from Ole Miss. Don't have a lot of tape on him, but you have to, like I said earlier, talk about practice tape. And then also the Ty Haywood kid. He's got plenty of size to feel like what you want him to do. And then the James kid from Mississippi State, I think he was the one that's had a lot of snaps, started 12 games over there. He could, he may be your he could be your starting left tackle. I don't know, because you have to wait till spring. And also the Strayhorn kid, I've heard that he could also be a backup center, or he could play guard or something there. So that's kind of some of that news there for them and what's happened in the last day or two. So here, see. Auburn added a guy today. Derek Plaza. He's from Jacksonville, Florida. Grades out at 86 so far. And like I said, you can't – us trying to gauge these darn stars from portal guys, it's nearly just a waste of darn time. I mean, it really is, because you just don't know. There's just no way to – I mean, we don't know. Some of these guys ain't even played. Like this Plaza kid, he's a second-team offensive lineman, from Miami. He ain't played. You ain't got a clue. I mean, how they even grade him, honestly, unless they've watched practice film, and I don't You know how many people there's going to be after the portal closed the other day? There's 4,000 kids left in the portal that could not find places to play. So how do you find out, like this Plaza kid that's going to Auburn, transferred from Miami? How do you know zone 3? I would like to know that question. I need to ask my guy. Like, do they look at practice film and give him a grade? Because he was recruited at a high school as an 88, and then now he's in the portal and he's an 86. I don't know, but that's something I'd like to know, and I will find out for you guys. I'll find out today. I'll find out right now. Tell me I can't do something. I got to tell you. Okay. We'll find out about how they grade these guys after they move. I'll have your answer here in about 10 seconds. I'll text my guy over here to Rivals type stuff. Let's see if Auburn had any other guys. They had that guy today. I think he's the only one they added today. Bama got the wide receiver. And we're going to look at, here's something I was questioned about today. They said, DeBoer had a lot of guys. 21. What was let's see. In 2021, Alabama had how many guys? There's my answer. Did y'all hear that? So when guys transfer in the portal, like, how do we know? How do we know? I'm trying to find this class that left in 21. We really need the 20 class. They don't go back that far. So that sounds right. To 20, the way kids are graded is what I just found out here. More than likely, it seems that probably through PFF, that's how they're grading these kids. But how does guys? I've heard from this person before and two other head coaches about PFF that it's terrible. It's not good at all. Like how they, grade kids, and some of the people doing it that's doing the grading, they don't even, like they just really didn't even play, or they just know like numbers, or like how it's like putting a gym teacher in the car with you for you to pass your, driver's license test. I mean, I'm sure the, gym teachers just got enough common sense to know, can tell if you can drive or not, can tell you use your blinker, you wear your seatbelt, et cetera kind of stuff. But there's still things to the test that you would like for somebody that kind of does it for a living to know that would be grading them. So PFF, I guess, is the holy grail, and I'm telling you, from this person and from other coaches, they don't. It's crazy. Georgia has edge rusher guy, the Modeza kid, went to Purdue. They lost a couple of guys over there. Added, I think, what they need. I hadn't heard much about Georgia. They're kind of sticking with what they got. Their recruiting class, they recruited well. They lost a guy to UAB, a running back, the Robinson the second. He left, and then they lost Dominic Kelly, a freshman corner, to Ohio State, and they lost another corner to Cal. Lost another tight end, the Sperling kid. Lost him to Colorado State. Picked up the Bryson Beaver, a quarterback from Oregon. Is at Georgia now as of last week. I think he come last week. He's a freshman. Be something for Kirby to work with. He is from he's from out there. He's from California. Interested to see how that kind of works out. He's 6'3", 200 pounds, normal quarterback size. They also picked up a safety, redshirt junior, Gentry Williams from Oklahoma. Be a good addition. They lost a tackle, the Hughley from he's from Georgia, and he played out at Langston Hughes. I was kind of surprised he left. I mean, he went to Colorado. Maybe he's injuries, or if Burge was on here, he could come in and share more about if he was hurt and he didn't get to play a lot. But they lost another tailback, but they picked up one, the Daldwell kid from Kentucky. See how he works out. One of their safeties headed to Kansas State. Got a guy headed to Boston College, one of their linebackers. He was the Chris Jones kid. You hate to see guys you lose, good freshmen. He's a good player. Chris Jones kid, he's from Virginia, Fairfax. Went to Boston College, and they lost another safety to Ole Miss. They picked up a safety, however, from Eastern Carolina, and of course they got Amari Williams from Auburn, one of their defensive guys. The Maddox kid, we just talked about him, went to K-State. USC corner from USC come over to Georgia back towards first of the month, and I think everybody else there is. They lost a lot of defensive guys, man. All their safeties, a lot of corners. They ain't got no depth hardly for. Man, that's crazy. They lost a lot of defensive guys, man. A lot of defensive guys. Kentucky, portal class, they've done really well, man. They have done well. They picked up another receiver, kid from Bakersfield out there. They got a kid from South Alabama, the Taylor Thomas kid. Kentucky's added several guys. They lost some guys. They lost the receiver, their long snapper, and one of their linemen. The Wilcox running back, kind of hate to lose him. He went to Marshall. But they picked up a receiver, the Nick Anderson kid that played at LSU. I'm telling you, man, Kentucky's they've really added to the pile here. And let's see here, last. Get this to load up. Top guys here for they're the top of the list for Bama. The Tompkins kid from USC, the Green kid from Oregon, the lineman from Michigan, the receiver from North Carolina State, a lineman from Texas, the linebacker from VTech, the big rusher, the Umaduza guy from South Carolina is a good addition, and the starter, James kid from Mississippi State at tackle, the Oklahoma State tight end, another kid from Michigan, the Strayhorn that plays guard or center, and the safety from Mercer, offensive lineman there from Ole Miss, and they had a kicker and a long snapper. And this kicker, the Quinn guy, he's from Ireland, and he don't really have a ranking, and it's because he's from Ireland. They said the first game he played, he kicked a 70-yard field goal, and that's just what Staples said over on 3. He was kicking 60 and 70-yard field goals, just bang, bang, bang. So it'd be a huge addition there. And any other guys from Auburn here, the Washington kid, tailback from Baylor coming in, and they got probably 8 or 10 or so guys from UCF. But you know what's strange? The UCF, one of their top tackles, He did not. He did not go to Auburn. He decided against it. He went somewhere else. It's kind of crazy. See if I can get this to work right here. Yep, there we go. Okay, let's hit it up, hit it up. What's going on, son? You just hang in there, brother. I know you're working man for a living. We appreciate you coming by and hanging out. Okay, let's talk about some schedules because those are going to get it's going to get wild here. Zach, we talked about you wouldn't hear. I'll go back to it for you. This guy here. Let me tell you about Aubrey Walker, Zach. I watched him play at Moody. Made some great catches. I think he had 3 touchdowns in the state championship game. 3 touchdowns. I like how he catches the ball. He's a smaller, fast guy. He's like the kid from North Carolina State, sort of like, you know how some guys know how to use their speed, like when to slow down a little, when to speed up a little. Ryan Williams, we saw that with him his first season. Like you just kind of have a know to and how to and when to slow down. I like that about him a lot. 5'10", about $180, runs a 4.3. And his story, Zach, was that he said that he wanted to take this opportunity. He was very excited, had a lot of emotions. He was super hard to control his emotions. And he Coach Roach at Bama that he praised James so much for offering him that he almost cried. It was a real heartfelt offer, and he appreciates it. And he put himself up on Twitter, Zach. It's at Breezy2Goated. Find him over there, Aubrey Walker. I think I started following him last year because I went and watched him play at Oxford last year. Yeah. He just moves around so fast. When he gets the ball, he's still young. You know, I watched him play not this past season, but the season before. Oh wow, man! He knows how to accelerate and coming back to the ball. Sometimes for his quarterback, his QB gets in trouble. You know they got a good staff down there, but go there and find him on Twitter. It's a picture of him in a little Alabama jersey, and it's pretty funny. And that's great. And I think that it says it's his dream to play since childhood to play at Alabama, and I think that's great for the game of football. That one, you're being able to recruit in your state, and I went through the whole spiel about I know Alabama don't have the highest rated high school players in the nation. Sometimes, we'll have guys that are nationally ranked, like top 200 or something like that. But I think it's still important to recruit the state. You can't load your team just within state talent. You have to go elsewhere, Texas and Georgia and California, and you have to move around to be competitive. But I love these stories because it's really what the kids always wanted to do. He's really always wanted to be here. And I think it's a good story for college football, no matter who you're a fan of, because it still can sell out some of us old people like me that remember, how the game was and how much it's changed so much. And it's good to see a little story every once in a while of a guy that seems like he just really wants to be here because he really likes the University of Alabama. Same story if a kid grew up being a LSU fan in Louisiana, and he just always wanted to play for LSU. And, he wants to stay in state. He wants to play there. But the bad part of it is, guys, you start pulling for these guys, not him, I'm just saying, but you start pulling for these guys and you see them go through spring and they get better and they come out and play a year and you're like, boy, he's getting good, did okay, and then they come back their next year. They hit the portal, they're gone. It's hard to pull for him, man. But we're pulling for him. Aubrey Walker out of Moody. And I hope he has a great spring. Yeah. We went through that, Zach, here we went through I think I sent you the list. Yeah. And here's the starting lineup at Bama. you want to take a look at that, it's over there on the page also. Yeah, Coach DeBoer and the staff and all, I think they've done a good job in the portal. This is some of the starting guys here for 26, just kind of how it lays out now. This could still change around because we're still going to get some guys, but kind of sort of this is kind of maybe what you're going to see. For the tackles, probably have the Lloyd kid and Michael Carroll, of course, over here at the other tackle. Kid from Texas over here, and then William Sanders and the Delgado kid at center. Tight ends, Edwards has been here. Rico Scott's been here. Wide receiver 2, Brooks, Williams, and then Hill, Riley, and Deere backfield, and Daniel Hill and Austin Mack at quarterback. That's a heck of a class. I think that group should be able to win a lot of football games. Missouri edge rusher Dawson Wilson III committing to Miami. Miami is blowing it out. They're really spending the money right now, man. All SEC honors, finished third in SEC with 9 sacks, led Missouri with 12 quarterback hurries. And here was the class Zach we was talking about earlier. Yeah. These are some guys. Y'all can find this over on the page. Shout out to Kyle Henderson at Bama Football YouTube. He does a great job. He's on every morning early, and he comes on during the day, and he makes all these. And I just share his stuff, and glad to share his stuff and help him get some more attention, and does a good job. I watched him since he was for over a year, since he just started his channel. He's just, it's informative. And that's what I try to be too, be informative and add some opinions here or there. And he has a call-in line he just started doing here recently, and I think that was cool. And I thought me and Dean talked about doing that, but we just never did. So here's some of the guys. Y'all can find it on the page. I done went through it. Really like the kicker for Marshall. He's from Ireland, and I really like him. He's a 60, 70-yard kicker. I think he's going to be a crazy great addition. Punter's going to be better. Long snapper, we've got another one of them. Seemed like they really tried to focus in on special teams. Yeah. If they put it together and the offensive, that's the only question. That was the question last year was, can these guys come together and figure it out and win, just win football games. That's the thing. And if they can figure out the offensive line part, then shoot, guys, they'll be right back in the playoffs again. Now, here's the other part of the show. We got how far are we in here already? We in 35, good, 30 minutes. Here's the other part to it. Let's see here. Schedules, we got it up there. Yep. I really hope that they can put it all together too. Be a good competitive team. So here's what we got. We're going to talk about some schedules for some of the top 10 teams or so. Kind of how the season ended in the final AP poll. And it looks like okay. So Indiana, Miami, Ole Miss, Oregon, Ohio State 5, Georgia 6, Texas Tech 7, A&M 8, Bama 9, Notre Dame 10, BYU, Texas at 12. So kind of, this is just the way. Let's see, make sure the undefeated Indiana 16. Yeah, okay. Let's see if that changes any. I'll look over here, SEC. Yeah, okay. Oregon, yeah, okay, cool. So there's the top 10. So we'll start here with the number 5 Ohio State Buckeyes. They're going to start with Ball State. I imagine surely they get that win. I guess they're going to have to go to Texas now because remember they opened up there. Last year Texas went up there, and with the pieces that Texas is adding, ladies and gentlemen, that could be a nice. It could turn out to be a really good game. Um, and with Ohio State and what they've got coming back, defensively they're going to be okay. I mean, pretty much they are losing Caleb Downs, but I didn't see nothing that just blowed me away with him this year. I mean, he's a good football player, but nothing just wowed me. Like, holy crap, did you see? I mean, there was no real news about him or nothing, nothing unordinary. Just he's good. He'll go high in the draft and he'll make a great living. Kent State, then the Saturday, October 17th, Ohio State will be at the Hoosiers. Let's see here. They're going to be at Iowa. Iowa's not going to be terrible next year. At Nebraska, Illinois, Maryland, Michigan. You just never know about that game. Northwestern, and then these dates are still not set, as you can see from here down. There's no dates. These could swap around in order. They're going to play these teams, but we don't know. Like Oregon may be up here, and USC. I think that should be a win. So it kind of looks like Oregon. Now let me tell you, they lost both their coordinators, offense and defense. So Dan's scrambling to get coaches. He's going to. I mean, that right now is when you get ready to play football for teams. This is when you're working towards a goal. And Ohio State is, they're talking about changes offense coaches too. Jeff come up on, was it Tuesday night? We talked about it. Some of their guys, the tight end coach Daly could be calling plays. He really liked JT Barrett. He played there at Ohio State, and I think he's at the Bears. I think he's a QB coach there. And of course, Todd Monken, which was at Georgia, helped them win those back-to-back. His name's in there too, Ohio State. So Ohio State moving some coordinators around. Oregon here, he's got to fill positions. So there's 2 or 3 games, for them that could go either way for Ohio State. And this is, just January talk about the 26th season, which we're all we can base our opinions on, us media people right now. Is there good talking points and something to talk about? And it's just to try to relate the idea that we just have to go off of what we know, and we know about coaches coming and going, and we know about players coming and going, but we know with the portal being closed, we know who's staying at Ohio State, and Smith is going to still be there next year, and Julian will be back again next year. That's going to be good anytime you bring back a second-year guy. So it looks like a good last 3 or 4 games there for Ohio State. Let's go here to – we looked at – Indiana football. For God's sake. It's always ads. Why? We looked at it. Let's look at Miami's next year. We looked at Indiana's Tuesday. We looked at it. Indiana plays the first opening month of September. They play nobody. I think the only Power 5 team they can play is Wisconsin. So they're going to get a complete month to tune up to get ready, with their new guy, which is, ain't knocking them. They're smart. It's just, like Miami Hurricanes finishing second in the season this year, had a good run at it. Probably should have won the game. Defense never pressed on the receivers at Indiana until it was too late. And I've watched people that played the quarterback position college-wise, and I broke down the game there through a show, a guy that actually won a Super Bowl quarterback. They both said a 1 ball or a 2 ball or a 3 ball. That's how quarterbacks decide the trajectory. A 3 ball, of course, being like a real kind of lob. He kind of threw a 3 when it probably should have been a 1 or 2 ball or something. And I'm not arguing with those two people, and the other guy won 3 national championships, so there's no way I'm. But I can still have an opinion. That don't mean I'm right. But that's why it's locker room talk. I respect everybody. Anybody else could say, well, I think it was. McCarron said that he just threw the wrong trajectory on the ball, and that he didn't read the safety. Talking about Miami and why they lost the game there, throwing a pick at the end of the game against Indiana. He let go of it quick as the safety peeled out over the top, and once he peeled out over the the hash, he's going that side, and he had a straight. It's just a straight go ball to the tight end up the sideline on the other side of the field, man. That's the first one I looked at because I thought they were just going to make a timing play and throw it out of bounds. And I looked at him first when he took off up the line in our TV view from the side. The tight end released, and the corner was way back. And I was like, well, there's your guy. And as soon as I said guy, he hauls off and throws it over his left shoulder down the sideline. I think he short-armed it. The ball back through would have had to have been thrown right at the – go back and watch it. If you can get the sky view, you can look it up. And you can see that view of it. If he throws that ball to the pylon, even if it's a 3-ball, because the safety that picked it was yards under him. He was yards under the receiver, so he didn't throw it far enough. I think he just let go of the ball a little funny, or he didn't get all of it into it that he wanted to. And probably as soon as he let it go, he had to see that safety peel over. He had to, because he looked right down there. He had to see him peel, and he thought, I can make that throw. If I can throw that pylon, it's going to go over him. He's peeled. As soon as the ball was snapped, he peeled. And they didn't have a halfback to run out the flat to hold that other linebacker down. So he was playing, kind of midfield. That's what he should have done. They should have at least peeled the running back because it was 5-on-5 protection. It was match protection up front. It was match. I don't think he misread the safety. I think that Beck saw him, and I think he just let go of it and went, crap. I didn't. As if he throws, go look at it. If he throws that ball over to the pylon right there, just 5 more yards up the field, 5-6 yards more, right that close to the edge of the end zone, he catches the ball over the guy, and he scores. So what most of them were thinking, the people that know way more about it than I do, that really played high levels, won national championship, Super Bowl, not AJ. They didn't win the Super Bowl, but this other guy was watching talk. They just think he'd read it wrong. But anyway, that's Miami, and they're going to have a new quarterback. I guess the Minchie guy from Duke, I guess. I don't know the state has put a restraining order on him that he can't leave the team. So that's you got all that going. I can't believe we're right there in college football. That's what we have to do right now. Ain't that ridiculous? So the U for 2026. They got to have a quarterback, but they're going to start out with two cakewalks. They're going to go to Notre Dame on the 7th of November, and then the rest of them haven't been determined yet, as you can see here. So these could change in order. They are playing these teams. They're going to go to Clemson, Boston College, Duke, Florida State, Pitt. Don't let old Coach Franklin sneak up on you over here now. I know it's at Miami, but just keep eye on that game. At North Carolina, at Stanford, at Wake. That could be another game to be careful because where they're at coming in their program. So they got 3 or 4 games themselves. Miami does. They got 3 or 4 games that they could boo-boo. And I don't know all the details about Clemson yet. We'll dig into that more as winter comes and we get into early spring. because spring football will start February 25th or something like that, in the next month. Also, USF ball, Birmingham Stallions head coach AJ McCarron, they'll be kicking off and getting their season started. So watch Birmingham Stallions and support AJ. Really like him. I've interchanged comments 2 or 3 times with him on Twitter. I'm just a fan of him. I think he's the best quarterback ever played at Alabama. I just, and I've watched him closely since the, late 90s. And so I think he's the best to ever play there. And he never did win a Heisman and all that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just telling you what I saw. So support you Birmingham Stallions over there. But Miami looks like they're going to have about 3 games. So, 9 games would probably be we don't know, man. They ain't even got a quarterback right now. We don't know. We don't know nothing. Let's see. Ole Miss. Yeah, let's look at their schedule next year. That's going to be a trying time. We're just going through some schedules here, just talking football. If you like college football, you come to the right place, guys. We're just going to look at some schedules for some teams in the top 10 for next year. We looked at Indiana and Ohio State. We'll check out Ole Miss here. We'll look at Oregon and we'll look at Oregon and we'll look at Georgia's, Texas Tech. I'm curious about them, A&M, and we looked at Notre Dame. So Tuesday. So Ole Miss Rebels, Coach Golden taking off here. This is his first full year as the full-time head coach. They're going to start with two cake games. They're going to play Louisville and Charlotte. They're going to go to Nashville to play Louisville, play up there at Nissan Stadium on the 5th. They're going to be home for Charlotte. Then they're going to play their old coach. Wow, what a game that's going to be. Keep an eye on that one. That could be a barn burner. And they've had some guys leave, man. Ole Miss is not just they're not pounding the pavement on. They're done pretty good in the portal now. They've done pretty good. But they've lost some guys too, man. And I don't know who their quarterback's really going to be. I mean, is he going to have to start Deuce Knight? He didn't even start a football game except at Auburn against Mercer. And Mercer's not a test. You can't evaluate nobody against Mercer. So being at Florida, we'll see what Summerall's got. I'll give the nod to Ole Miss. At Vandy, I think they're going to struggle some. Now, they did get the number 1 quarterback from Georgia. They stole him away. But he's a high school guy. Missouri, their quarterback, Beulah, left and went. I just looked up the other day thinking, I can't believe he left. Why the starter, especially a starting quarterback? Why are you leaving? Why? At Texas, Zach, we're back. Texas is back. Another $50 million roster. See how that turns out for them. That'll be a good matchup. Auburn's defense should be pretty solid. They got to keep a few guys. DB situation is very bad. They got a lot of new guys on their DBs. I didn't like their DBs anyway, so they really don't matter. They were always real high on Pleasant, and I never liked him, dude. He got a flag, at least 2 PIs every game. I was like, bro, he holds people every play. And then at Georgia, this is Ole Miss. They're going to host Georgia. That's always that's just going to be a throwdown. Keep an eye on that game. At Oklahoma, they're bringing their quarterback back, and they're going to be whatever. And I don't know. I just can't see it. But this game here now, I'll say they'll beat Mississippi State. But the Egg Bowl, that quarterback, man, Taylor, if you watch the Egg Bowl, watch their bowl stuff, he's good, man. And Fluff's coming back. It'll be his second year. And ACC championship game, December the 5th, September. September. December the 5th at the Benzo Dome. So Ole Miss, at least there's 3 or 4 there that could bite them. So again, probably 9 wins or maybe 8. So if they let one get away from them, maybe they win one that you think that they couldn't. Maybe what if they show up at Austin and win that game, but they go to Georgia and they lose this one, and what if they lose to Auburn? That I don't know. So probably something like 8 or 9, I guess, maybe 8, 9 wins. These schedules getting tougher, guys, because they're going to have to play 9 conference games. And let's see the Dogs. What's Georgia got? Georgia. Okay, Tennessee State and Western Kentucky. Everybody's starting the first 2 weeks with nobody, which is okay. I mean, I think it's a good chance to get your team together. It's a good chance for these schools, Western Kentucky and Tennessee State, to make some money. At Arkansas, Oklahoma, talking about Georgia Bulldogs here. They'll go starting October. They play Vandy. They'll be at Alabama. That game's you just never know. I'm tired of even trying to pick it. They get Auburn at home. That could be should be able to take care of that off. Then Halloween night, they will be at home playing Florida. Summerall knows what that game means. He understands that. Georgia's already got their date set. November 7th, they'll be at Ole Miss. Look for that to be a good game, too. Missouri and South Carolina's added some pieces, and they've lost a few pieces. So being up there at South Carolina, being this late in the year, and knowing they got Tech the next week, which Tech's added some guys too. I'm just saying, be careful with that one and that one. So, same thing. A lot of these teams are looking like a 9-win kind of team to me. Yeah, South Carolina and then Georgia Tech for Thanksgiving weekend. Sheesh. It's just a quick look. We're not spending a lot of time with them. We're just kind of moving through them. These are just the top 10 teams from the end of the year. Just kind of looking at their schedules, mostly SEC here. Let's look at the old Texas Tech Red Raiders. Somebody had told me about this when it said, I need to look at it. Said it was Super Cake. So Texas Tech for 26 class had Super Cake. So let's look at Super Cake. We got Cakewalk. Albany Christian opened the season on September the 5th for Texas Tech at home at Lubbock. They'll go to Oregon State, come back home to play Houston, then home again to play Sam Houston. And then they'll travel to Colorado, bye week. And October 17th, looks like Texas Tech will be at home again to play Arizona State, losing their quarterback at Cincinnati. Arizona, we'll keep eye on West Virginia. We'll see how they do through the year. Colorado State. Oklahoma State, November 14th. They'll be at Baylor, which Baylor should be somewhat improved. It's going to be at Baylor, too. So should win that one. And TCU finished ranked 20th. They'll be at home, too. Good Lord, how many freaking home games do they got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 home games. 7 and 5. If they win all their home games, they go bowling. I don't see. Is there anybody on this schedule that should beat them? December the 4th, a Friday, will be the Big 12 championship. Man, keep on West Virginia, and Arizona's supposed to be making some moves to add some guys too. So Texas Tech for 26, they should go the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and win. Then they got Arizona. They could win that and go bowling already. Now they got the Daughtry quarterback. They got the big money tailback. They got the big money defensive tackle. They bought some of the best guys money could buy all over. Man, there's no reason in the world, guys, for Texas Tech not to win 10. No reason at all. And this is we're just doing a quick run by, just a glance at the schedules. All right, let's see here. There's one other. A&M. Yeah, let's look at A&M, then we'll look at Bama. Texas A&M. Then we'll hit the peanut gallery and see what everybody else thinks about some of these schedules here. Giggle. Missouri State. Gosh, Arizona State. Shoot. Kentucky, September the 19th. Kentucky will be at A&M. Then they'll go to LSU. That'll be a good game. That will be a good one at LSU. Lane better win that game. Arkansas, Missouri on the 10th at Missouri. Talking about Texas A&M, the Citadel. How'd they get them in the middle of the year? Then they're going to be at Alabama on October the 24th. Texas A&M traveling to Tuscaloosa. Then they'll have another off week at South Carolina. Keep an eye on that game. At Tennessee. Crap, guys. Holy smokes. A&M has just decided to Well, okay. So November 7th, 14th, 21st, and November 27th, Texas A&M is going to be at South Carolina. Then they'll be at home for Tennessee. And then they'll play at Oklahoma. And then come home and play Texas. Sheesh. Guys, it's a high possibility those last four, they could lose two of those last four. At least. And then they've still had Bama and LSU on the schedule. They got Bama the 24th and LSU September 26th. Sheesh. Texas A&M, man, y'all may be 7 at best, or maybe 8 win. If they win 9, I mean, if they win 10 of these games, then look out. I just don't trust Reed. I still don't. He'll get you in some games, and he'll get your feelings hurt. But LSU on the 26th. Bama on October 24th, which is week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Week 8, which will be good mid-form. Both teams should have all the bugs worked out. Maybe shouldn't have anybody beat up too bad. Be a good SEC game. It's going to be at Alabama too. Whoosh. A&M got a nice little schedule there. All right. Alabama is going to start out. They're going to open with an easy one. Going to play East Carolina, which is – I like East Carolina. They always got some good players, man. This is not going to be a 60-0 football game. I'll go ahead and tell you right now. Maybe a 48-10 game, but they got some guys that can play over there. And they're going to go to Kentucky. I'm not quick checking that. If you noticed, I didn't just go, well, okay, moving on. Yeah, we're going to play Florida State at home. That's a win. South Carolina at home. You noticed I slowed up right there. Yeah, they should beat Kentucky, but coach, quarterback, got a lot of new stuff going on. That should be a win, but boy, they better not go up there and not show up and just want to decide they're going to play a half. On road games are tough. Florida State coming to town. Bama looking for some revenge. I would assume they could take care of Florida State. South Carolina at home, I'll give Bama the edge there. But, man, they played them a game last year. But, their guys, a lot of their guys are gone. Their big edge rusher has moved on to lengthen his career in the football world. Stewart, and the guy that backed him up is at Alabama now. At Mississippi State, that quarterback is going to be a problem. October the 3rd, Alabama will be at Starkville. That may be a better game than what people think. You heard it here first. It just may be a better game than you think. And, of course, good Lord, man, it's going to be Georgia's coming to town October the 10th. I have no idea. You just don't know. Tennessee's they better get them a quarterback too. They have the McCarthy kid that played from up there at that big Tennessee Academy school. He's good, McAteer, but he played no college football. You know what I'm saying? Of course, third Saturday will be October 17th. Tough one. It'd be a good game because it's going to be at Knoxville. You see that? So just count on that one to go ahead and get your blood pressure medicine in early that day. Home for A&M. You can guarantee it'll be a good game as I marked it with them too. Off October 31st, they're going to take off and have a party for Coach Saban. How old would Nick be on that birthday? 83, 84, 83. Coach Saban there. Saban have his birthday party. We're going to take off for that. Now, coming back to start the month of November, the 7th of November, Alabama traveling to Baton Rouge. I don't care if they're ranked 15 or if they're ranked 51. The mystique and the hate that they've built because of the Saban tie, I think Bama's they probably moved on from it better than they have because Bama's just beat them most all the time. But trust me, Lane Kiffin knows what lane he's in. He knows what he's doing. He ain't crazy. He ain't stupid. He may be crazy, but he ain't stupid. He knows that this game right here on November the 7th at Baton Rouge can hugely define his legacy there at LSU because the people that's paying him the money, they do not want to lose this game to Alabama. All right, November 14th, the next week, Bama's going to have South Carolina, Mississippi State, Georgia, Tennessee, A&M take off. Then you got LSU, Vandy, and you get the little tune-up game, get Chattanooga some money. And then the Iron Bowl will be in Tuscaloosa. I kind of think the board can continue to get it done with them. This is more his team, and we saw that his guys, the freshman guys, were probably the better guys on the team this year. Some of the older guys were not even the best players. So none of them's left. None of the young guys left. The only ones that left was some of your older junior guys or that had another year that wanted to duck out and didn't want to be second team more on the O-line. You had Quay dip out on the defense, him and James Smith and Keon because he wants to play a lot. And, those guys have been replaced. So we'll just have to see to find out about that actually. But his guys that he's recruited in his two classes, they're there. They ain't none of them portaled out. These are the these are the last of the team that Nick brought in. These are the last pieces of those guys. And I'm saying that to say Gullish's first year, and if he can come in and beat Alabama at Alabama, which just if it's something crazy like that happened, I just wouldn't really, it wouldn't blow my mind. I mean, I wouldn't just be like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Believe it. Because the Iron Bowl, you just have no, you just don't know what's going to happen. So, Bama here on this stretch again, man. Look at this stretch here. From September to 26th, October 24th. I like South Carolina and A&M being at home. This home game with Georgia is going to be always a good one. You better assure you Kirby, Smart, as well as the other 130-something FBS teams are sick of Bama beating Georgia. Kirby's sick of it. Everybody else in the nation is too, because everybody else hates Alabama, and everybody would just rather them lose every game. I actually seen the Auburn podcast today, The Barn, old Charlie Five over there, actually said, I'm kind of reveling in the downfall of Alabama. They just won 11 games. They just are top recruiting class in the nation. Wow. That's a downfall. You just won 5 games. And the year before. I don't know. I don't completely understand his logic. He just hates Alabama, which is okay. It's just everybody else does too. Just get in line. But Georgia, tough game. Everybody's going to be pulling for Georgia and Kirby to win this game. So that'll be a tough one. At Tennessee, you just might as well get ready for one there. This game is Starkville, man. I know some of y'all Alabama fans are laughing. That Taylor kid is good. And by this far down the season, October 3rd at Starkville, and fans of other conferences are watching and coming by here and saying, Mississippi State, they only won like 5 games, man. They ain't even no good. Yeah, have you watched them play? Well, no, I don't. Okay, shut up. Then just don't talk about it if you didn't watch them play. I can't go in here and talk about your trash team like Maryland. We know they don't put out any NFL talent, never have. Or Rutgers, I don't know if anybody's ever – but I've never watched them really analyze them, so I just can't say, for sure how they're going to be. This Mississippi State team, if they get their defense figured out, they're going to be a mess for some teams, because that running quarterback, he is tall and he can move around and lean and run, and he throws the ball well. He's been pretty smart. Don't throw turnovers. I'm a little worried about him. I think Mississippi State figures out some defense. Coach Levy, he's not an idiot. He's a good coach. If they get hot by this time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, week 5, they ought to be figuring it out by then. They ought to be on a roll right there. So be careful. That little stretch there, South Carolina, Mississippi State, Georgia, Tennessee, Bama could lose 2 of those games, maybe even 3. So before Mississippi State plays Bama, who do they have? They're going to be at home for Missouri. And then they get to stay at home. That means a lot, man. They get to stay at home for the next week too. They don't have to travel. They're going to go to South Carolina. They're going to tune up with Louisiana Monroe. They're going to go to Minnesota. They're going to go to South Carolina. That'll be a good game. I could look forward to that. Mississippi State at South Carolina, September 19th. hopefully that'll be on a time different than some Bama and Georgia games. I can see that one too, because they're going to be at South Carolina. They're going to come home from Missouri and settle in and be home for Bama right before their off week. So they know they're fixing to get some time off. They're going to try to make a hard push right there before a week off, because they know they got to come back and go to LSU, play Oklahoma, at Texas, play Vandy, play Auburn, play Tennessee Tech, then finish Egg Bowl at Ole Miss. So, wow. Man. So, Bama, how many losses they got, guys? Where do you just a quick little 10-minute flyby here? Possibilities. 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5. Same kind of year. I think at best they would win 10. Probably, realistically, probably look at and win 9. They may beat Georgia again. That may be a game he takes care of. Maybe they win that one, and maybe Mississippi State is not ready. And it's a good game, but Bama pulls away. So then at Tennessee, maybe that is a loss, and then they lose at LSU, and they lose to Auburn. So you have 1, 2, 3 losses there. That's still 9. I wouldn't assume them to be 8-4. Not unless if South Carolina just if they just show up on the 26th of September at the end of the month there on week 4. So let's see who South Carolina played the week before. They get home first 3 games. They got Kent State, Townsend, Mississippi State. Talking about South Carolina. So they got 3 nice little tune-up games before going to Tuscaloosa. That's and he has coached over there. Beamer has fired his offensive line coach and somebody else too. So, he may be working towards putting him together a good football team. Let's hit the peanut gallery over here. Zach says A&M schedule, it's pretty tough. Looks like LSU schedule is anxious to what lane can star. It's weird to play Kentucky week 2. It is. Alabama schedule looks pretty crazy in the season. This is a conference alignment. It's killing us. It is. You're just gonna, you just got to know one thing. Any early predictions on Iron Bowl for 26? I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if Alabama played against Afghanistan. Most fans would root for Afghanistan. Yeah, absolutely, sure. That already erases yard markers when he gets out in the full lope from. Yeah, he's very special. Very special player. I really enjoy watching him. So that's kind of that. Like and subscribe to the channel if you hadn't already. Just go there and hit the hit the darn thumbs up. I sure really would appreciate it a whole heck of a lot. And here's the thing. We got to remember to this idea, and I heard Bama Standard people again. I don't know why I watch it. It just makes my blood pressure high. Well, this is what's first said. Well, we have to understand it's a different time of football, number one. Two, Saban's not there anymore, and you don't get that Saban discount. And the way things have changed so much, even if, Saban was here, how different would it be, even for him? For him and what he, I don't think they'd have lost the Florida State game if he would have been here this year. I think he'd have had the players up and been ready. So, they're like, well, football's different, and we just have to accept the fact that, stacking titles and that kind of stuff is just not the way it is going to be for any team anymore. And we're spoiled fans. And then 30 seconds later, it's, well, I'm worried about it because we're not getting, the kind of players that we need in the portal. Says who? Says you. You don't know. Have you watched practice film with any of these guys in the portal? These guys do shows for Alabama. I mean, the name of their show is to represent the university, and all they talk about is they're doing bad in the portal or something. Do you understand that, like, rankings in the portal is not like rankings in recruiting, because every team's needs are different. And every coach has a different evaluation plan for how the players fit their team and their needs for how they run their offense or their defense. Like, well, it's just this, and I understand it's different, but I'm just disappointed, and we're trending down now, but you just said you understand that the game is different and how much it's changed, and how with Saban being gone, it does completely change the landscape of the game for Alabama fans and just for football in general. Because SEC has upturned all the rocks, and all these coaches have been fired, and they're looking for new jobs, and everybody's been replaced now. And so you got a lot of first-year coaches. You're going to have some first-year quarterbacks. Bama's going to have a first-year quarterback. Auburn's going to have one. Tennessee's going to have one. Florida's going to have one. LSU's going to have Leavitt for one. Missouri's going to have one. Texas will have Arch back. A&M's going to have Reed back. South Carolina's going to have Sellers back. Georgia will have Gunner back. Vanderbilt's going to have a new quarterback. Mississippi State will have a new quarterback. Ole Miss is going to have a new quarterback. So I just named all the SEC teams here, and I think I said they're starting a new quarterback more than I said they got a guy coming back. It's like South Carolina, Texas, and Georgia. Yeah, South Carolina, Texas, and Georgia. So out of 16, so 13 teams in the SEC is going to start a new quarterback. Think about that. Just let that ride around your head there for a second. Podcast people, you're probably running on the treadmill right now, and just take a break and step off the treadmill there and get you a drink, and just think about, where we're at in college football and the new quarterback situation, and these people that have these YouTube channels that say they understand what's going on, that there's a new landscape of college football, and then they say that Bama's garbage. They're not living up to the standard. I hate to break it to some of you guys, because I don't think hardly any of them on that channel are older than me. They're still able to read. There is books, there is Google. The standard of Alabama was there before Nick Saban. There, what are they talking about? There's no a standard of football is to win. I think that's what all the coaches there are trying to do. So miss me with BS and quit being silly about it. It is different. It's changed. Nobody's going to go on these runs anymore. Well, Indiana, do you think Indiana's going to be? You think they're going to come back and run the table again? Just raise your hands. Thank you. If you do, then click the like button over there. Having trouble streaming Facebook. This may be an issue. I to ensure that okay. I think it's okay. Oh, may have logged out. Zach, did it? Did it blog me out of Facebook? Click on it here and see. No. Oh, it did. Kick me out. So let's try this. We will remove it and save changes. And we'll go back here and we'll try to see if it'll go back on. Just trying this. I ain't never done this before. That's probably why it fell out. What up? What up? What up? Let me go back over here and see if it's working. Yeah, looks like. Okay. We're back up and running there on Facebook. Sorry about that, Facebook people. So we're just talking about, okay, thank you, Zach. So we're just talking about some scheduling and stuff and looking at schedules from other SEC teams and just under the realization of, I'm going to go back and look up all the, SEC teams. And we'll go through these again. I'm pretty sure I got all of them. Now, let's just talk about this for a second. All right, one at a time. Zach, break it down here. We're talking about new quarterbacks. Yes or no? Alabama, new quarterback. Arkansas, new. Auburn, new. Florida, new. Georgia, Gunner is back. Kentucky, new. LSU, new quarterback. Mississippi State, new quarterback. Missouri, new quarterback. Oklahoma, Mateer's back. So we got Oklahoma back. Ole Miss, new. South Carolina, Sellers back. Tennessee, new guy. Texas got Arch. A&M's got Reed. Vanderbilt's got a new guy. So A&M, Texas, South Carolina, Oklahoma, Georgia have returning quarterbacks for the SEC. What about that? That's going to make it. It's going to make a difference, and I don't have to go through all the Big Ten teams because I got about 25 teams, and I don't know about some of their. I don't know about some of their teams. I don't know Illinois, Indiana. No, they have a new guy. Iowa does. Maryland, I don't know. Michigan don't. They have a guy back. Michigan State. I don't know. Minnesota, Nebraska's, they'll have a new quarterback. Northwestern have a new quarterback. Penn State will have a new quarterback. Purdue will. Rutgers will. Wisconsin, I think, will too. It seems like Colton Joseph for 2026 is kind of expected to start transfer quarterback. So he joined the team from Old Dominion last week. Oh, me, guys. What about that? So Bama added some new guys today. The Aubrey Walker kid from Moody High School, 3 touchdown catches, state championship game. Wow, what a great player. And said he was excited to come to Alabama. just a dream for his, and said he was kind of excited and emotional about it when Coach Roach talked to him about coming to Alabama. So he'll be another receiver on the scene for them. And top 10 schedules, we went through all the top 10 teams and talked about their schedules. And some of them looks pretty tough. A&M looks pretty tough, and I don't have to look at Auburn again. I can tell you already it is tough. If Auburn wins 7 or 8 games, Gullis should get a $5 million bump. If he wins 8 games, he should get a bump in pay for just being able to put a team together and go out there and win 8 games again. They got a tough schedule, very hard schedule. So those are some of the top 10 teams in their schedules. Indiana, Notre Dame, cake, super cake. They're walking the first month of the season. They're not playing anybody. I think Indiana plays Wisconsin at the end of the month. They're going to have 3, like Rice, Kennesaw State, and Indiana State to open the season again. They just figured out how to do it, and Indiana's figured out how to play the system. Get some guys 2 years over at one school year to kind of, fill it out and let his older guys kind of get, adjust to what they're doing and get over there and kind of start coming. Well, they don't go to class. They're 24 years old. So just, playing football there and being in the facilities and just run a pretty simple offense. I mean, if a quarterback can go 4 for 11 in the second half of a national championship game, and the 4 passes were nothing up the field, 2 slants, a screen, and 2 out-of-bounds throws that one of them was a bad throw. The receiver just made a good catch on it. So he made like 3 good passes in the second half. That's what Mendoza did. He won the Heisman this year. He made 3 good passes in the second half of the game. That's all he had to do because they run the ball pretty well, and Miami just decided to pick and choose when they wanted to press up on the receivers. And as they're playing off, so far, Mendoza could just snap, 2 steps, boom, throw a quick ball. He only threw 25 balls the whole game. He threw 11 the second half, so he threw 13 the first half. It's not complicated what they're doing. There's no like, wow, this secret recipe to success it's the same recipe it was what it's always been. Play good defense. You keep the other team from scoring. And Miami is terrible at opening games. Go back and watch their other games in the playoffs. They had first halves they wouldn't even score. So when they didn't score that first quarter, I knew they were in for a bad day. They got up like 10-0. I'm like, well, Miami's not going to win this game. They just look like the same team. And Indiana's going to start running the ball here at some point, and that'll be it. And Miami's not going to place their corners up on the receivers. They didn't want to play in close. And when they did, when Mendoza had the 3-step drop or 2-step drop, because they're just playing RPO, when he reads it, he was going to pull it and throw it, or he just reads that in and he throws it. When it wasn't there quick, what happened? He got sacked. Send pressure, play the corners up tight. Rush 6 against 5, play the corners tight. If they'd have started the game that way and played that way all night, I think they could have won the game. I think they could have won the game. But that's on the coaches. That's their fault for not recognizing that. And I think that right before halftime, Miami had the ball back there, and they tried 3 rushes up the middle and had to punt the ball. You just pound it. Never didn't try to put Tony on the end, because the 3 times they threw those little lane screens to him, those tunnel screens out there, it worked every time because he's fast and he's hard to catch. He's hard to get hands on when he's got a lane to get. If he catches the ball and he gets to moving, good luck catching Tony. They're trying to throw in the ball, him standing still, and then try to accelerate, and they've got 2 guys on him. and some of the play concepts, like that last play, the running back should have been out in the flat. That at least could have held that linebacker down close. He'd have had to respect it and play the flat. And maybe the safety didn't peel so fast over the top, because as soon as he snapped the ball, the safety peeled and he throwed it. He short armed it. I think. I don't think necessarily it was just he just didn't see the safety through a pick. That's what a lot of real college football quarterbacks said. And I can't argue with them, because they're very educated opinion. I think they just short armed it. And that's kind of a little more about the game. And, we're going to have to go to move on from it and looked at some of the schedules there and kind of get an idea of where everybody's at and kind of what to expect. Looks like guys, I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot of 9-win teams next year in the SEC. Don't freak out. I would very seriously doubt SEC fans right here in the bottom corner. You see the SEC logo covering SEC. Now, we do talk about other teams. If you see 11-win SEC team, I would be extremely shocked. Extremely shocked. But you got what? How many was it? Zach? 4 teams coming back with returning quarterbacks. So we'll figure it out then. All right, thank y'all for coming by and hanging out with me. Gosh darn, we had a great time. Everybody in the comments, y'all better make sure you hit the thumbs up on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're over on YouTube if you hadn't already. Thank you, podcast listeners, iCast, Spotify, and iHeartRadio, and everywhere in between. Just Google us there and share it to a friend, man. Put it on your page somewhere and tell somebody to come by and hang out and just talk football. That's all we like to do. Appreciate it. And probably see you back Sunday night? Try to come on. Guys, and what they got going on, we'll go through some of that. We'll check it out then.